Test 1, 2, 1, 2, 3,
Cool,
4,
cool.
5. You see, this is weird being on this side of the camera.
I know.
I'm supposed to be on that side of the
It's
camera.
like an alien over there.
I'm the person that's supposed to do, hey, you test the audio. Now just look at the pond and see the birds fly by.
This will be the thumbnail.
Come on, baby.
You ready?
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you for letting me put you in front of a camera, the guy who likes hiding behind them.
That's right.
You want to introduce yourself and talk a little bit about what you do?
For sure. Should I like look at the camera and you or just like talk to each other?
No, just talk to me.
Come on, that's what I was hoping. Yeah, so my name is Isaac Ross, and
You do wedding videography.
I am always behind the camera. So this is
I
crazy.
hunted you down, I put my thumb on you, and I pulled you in front of it.
I know, and I'm glad you did that because I've been wanting to be more intentional about getting I don't know. We were talking about this earlier when you first got here, but just like being vulnerable and being like not like fake with how you reveal yourself.
A huge
like
theme.
oftentimes there's like naturally humans can be, because part of it is like you don't want to post negative stuff, but it's like when you only post the highlights in life, that's all people see. But it's cool because you can get into we might get into the weeds a bit, and I'd be like, yeah, I'm actually struggling with this, or hey, this is going really well in my life.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to just kind of share vulnerably.
And thank you for being willing.
Because we would do this anyways if the camera wasn't on. So it'd be interesting.
And a huge theme of my channel I want to accentuate is vulnerability. I want to be vulnerable myself, and through that I want people to feel more comfortable with being vulnerable. So there's a cat.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
Cat's feeling brave, we're feeling brave. What a good day for it.
It's a good day.
I got some questions here just to move this interview forward. Feel free to ask me questions. This can be an open conversation. I want it to just be as comfortable as possible. But I'll start with friendship. You and me. We went to high school together. I'm not going to name that high school on this interview, but it was a good time. We played lacrosse.
Yeah.
And we joined together in Indy Catholic. That's when we got to hang out together again.
Yeah.
What of those three things spark to your mind? What do you think of when you think of Matt Hackle?
Well, when I think of Matt Hackle, I think of I don't know. Well, I feel like the bulk of when we knew each other was, attack line squad.
Yeah.
So we played attack together in the lacrosse field. But I don't know. I just think of I always thought you were the funniest guy. Do you remember we had that Spanish class? I'm not saying that just to pamper you on camera.
Yeah.
Remember we had that Spanish class?
Yeah.
I was my
that
favorite.
That was a bubbly experience.
That was my favorite class because I always just thought it was I was like, oh god. I was always looking forward to go to that.
That was a real highlight for me. I forgot about that until now. Thank you for bringing that up.
This guy's freaking hilarious.
Because we were just being ourselves then, and we had a teacher who allowed it.
Yeah. I don't even remember who that teacher was.
I'm not going to say the name, but
I think I know.
She was awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. That makes me happy.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk about your process of getting into videography? What you slowly dipped your toe into to get behind the camera more and more, and then how you got to where you are right now.
Yeah. No, absolutely. One other thing with the lacrosse.
Yeah.
While I'm thinking of it. So yesterday, this is crazy. I was driving down the road, literally right next to here at a high school nearby, and I saw our team playing. I saw
Really?
Yeah, and it was the fourth quarter, 3 minutes left. I was like, you gotta be kidding. So then I swerved the car because I was going over to my girlfriend's house because we were gonna have dinner. And I was it was so funny because I was able to talk to all the coaches and stuff after the game because it had just ended.
Whoa.
I haven't been to a game yet.
Did they make you give a speech?
No.
This is one of our greatest alumnus.
This is one of our most mediocre players to come through the play.
That's what I imagine.
He's
me,
the third attack,
swerving my car, crashing into a few cars just to come see one of our games, and then they're like, "Yeah, does one of our team captains want to speak for Matthew?" It's like, Matthew, you will never be a team captain. That's cool you did that though.
But yeah,
because that's
cool.
huge.
Then I actually was able to talk
you
to
feel something when you do stuff like that. I know I do. When I went back for an alumni mass recently, and I felt so good afterwards. Yeah. It was whoa, I've been making this a bigger deal in my mind for about 5 years.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad and I have to play in the reunion for my class.
What?
Yeah, me and I'm the vice president to my very cool president of our class, and we have to plan the reunion for 2028. So
Really?
Yeah.
Is that? Oh, that's 10. Yeah. Wow.
10.
Well, I did in my head. I was like, oh, that's a 5-year reunion.
No,
That's crazy.
it's one you can't avoid.
Yeah.
The tenure, but that's funny.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's talk more about that off camera. That's awesome.
It was fun. Sorry. What was your question right after that?
How'd
'Cause
you
I had
get
that on my head. I was like, I
How'd
just
you
wanna
get
say-
into videography?
Yeah. So I got into videography. I got into videography like when I was a kid. Me and my siblings, we would just like film everything, and we would always do skits and stuff, and it was always so much fun. And like that always, I think was initially laying the groundwork for just like capturing stuff, because we would always do skits and just film them, and we still have them, and they're freaking hilarious to watch. Because I'm literally like 10.
Yeah.
And my older sister, shout out her, she was like directing it. It was fun. It was just a lot of fun, but it was like that kind of, I think, laid the groundwork. Then in middle school, I got a GoPro, and it was one of those things that was gradual.
So it just built.
Middle school, I got a GoPro. I would film every like family vacation and everything I did. I would always just go like fishing and just film it. The videos are horrible, but I love going back and watching them because it's cool to see where you start.
That's awesome.
And then high school, I would do like lacrosse stuff and sports stuff.
That's what I remembered.
Here and there. I think what crippled me a little bit in high school was like just like trying to conform to what other people, I don't know, just to conform to those around you. So I don't think I was actually like, I didn't have the capacity to like fully embrace like that hobby of mine, I don't think, of filmmaking.
Yeah.
To the extent that I would have, I don't know, like
Wished you could have.
Yeah, I wish
just
I
in
could've.
retrospect.
Yeah. I mean, because it's like I would just let other voices, get in the way of.
I know I did
still
that for
do.
sure.
But to a certain extent, but yeah. And then like college, I kind of like went off to the races, and like I was like, I'm gonna do this. So then I finally put my foot down and like spent literally like all the money I had at the time. It was right after COVID. So COVID was during my freshman year. So I had like a normal first, like, 3/4 of my freshman year, and then COVID hit. So that would have been your sophomore year, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
COVID. And then it was like, after that summer, I was like, just grinding, just trying to save every penny, and then spent all that money I had made on a camera. And then like, never looked back.
That's
So
special.
it was a good investment, and I'm glad I like did that, but yeah.
That's cool. What was the process like for you to like slowly not care about that fear? And then was there a defining day where you finally just said, I'm not looking back? Do you remember any of those specific dates or?
Yeah, I would say not necessarily. I don't
just
have like a big
cohesive
story with
flow.
that. Yeah, it was
That's cool.
Kind of just flowed.
Nice.
Like it would just be like slowly I would be able to, I was able to just be who I was called to be more fully. And I'm not sure why,
That's cool.
but yeah.
So you
about you?
primarily focus on weddings. How has that been lately?
Yeah, it's been good.
Good.
So now I mostly do weddings. Yeah, so it's like, kind of started with like sports and outdoorsy stuff with the GoPro and stuff like that, and then now I mostly do weddings. So that transition has been, it's been fun. I mean, I've been doing weddings for the past like 4 years or 5 years now, but I mean the weddings I do because I enjoy weddings because for a variety of reasons. The main one is like it's the biggest day of someone's life, and it's really cool to be able to embark on that, enjoy that with them, and capture that moment for them. So I'm kind of a sucker for a love story. I think like I am. So I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I like to be able to capture it, and it's also cool to think like, first of all, it's cool to think like I can capture the glory of what's happening because, if I'm filming the sacrament, it's like cool to see how it's like, in a way I'm filming our Lord because of like the two coming together when, the marriage is proper, right? And it's like, it's so cool to like witness that. And then also just to be able to like give that to like enable, a couple to have that to show their kids and their kids' kids. It's kind of fun to be able to be like, yeah, I made that film for them.
You have a real tangible handprint, thumbprint.
Yeah.
You're a part of the process of each person's wedding day, and that's huge.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. And it was really scary at first. And now I kind of just have learned to enjoy it, and that's the way that it's easiest. Because I am with the couple. I'm with the couple more than like most other people.
And you get to know them on a deep level really fast.
On the biggest day of their life. So it gets wild, especially if I don't know them beforehand. Sometimes it's actually easier when I don't know them beforehand.
I can understand why.
But
you've mentioned being called. Could you talk more about what that means for you to people that like maybe have no idea what our religion is that we share?
Yeah. So I film like Christ-centered marriages. It's kind of like I rebranded in like the fall, and that's kind of like what I do now.
Okay.
And we've had conversations about this, but it's like, you know, the faith journey has been
stressful.
Can I squeeze it?
Yeah.
My ADHD.
Absolutely.
I always love fidgeting something.
I have another fidget thing, so it'll help us both.
Like, what the heck are they holding on to? Yeah, I mean that's like a whole thing in and of itself, you know. Hey, that's like the OG fidget.
This is like the real ADHD.
Yeah, that's like the actual one.
A professional ADHD.
Yeah. You're like a pro when you have that guy.
Gaming control over here. This controls the camera.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fun. Keep going.
Like faith.
Yes. Go.
I mean that's kind of been if somebody like knew me in high school, and then we were to like link up again tomorrow or today, and I haven't seen them between that gap, like I think that would be probably the biggest thing they'd be shocked by is like well, first of all, like everyone's obviously grown and changed significantly, you know, when you're looking at the ages of 18 to I'm 24 now. So, but yeah, surely that's been the biggest way that I've grown, you could say, is that just like my relationship with the Lord and all that's entailed. So it just really kind of like, not to like dramatize it, but it's like just kind of changing every aspect of my life, you know? Just like the way I view the world has changed.
I have a really,
you know what I'm saying?
Interesting anecdote to this story.
Yeah.
Where I've had, you know, when I see you, I say, yo, you look so tall.
Yeah.
Someone said that to me recently, someone who's very close. I won't disclose their name, but a very close man in my life said, holy cow, did you grow 5 inches? And I took my shoes off, went down half an inch, and I was like, nope, just Matthew still. I think there's something to be said for the spiritual height that can like change how someone views you. And I think that's what happens when I see you, which is cool.
Let's go.
But what a powerful experience.
Yeah.
The ability, the gift to have, I mean, I don't want to say Saul Paul, but like a change in front of someone.
Yeah.
And be perceived so differently. I think that's beautiful. Does anything come to mind?
But it's hard, you know?
Yeah.
But it's...
Because you actually have to do the work, and no one sees that.
Yeah. That's part of it. And then part of it too is like, I mean, especially when you're looking at like those, when you don't see someone for that long, I think sometimes, you know, your immediate reaction is to like, or there's just like, they just knew you in a different way, you know? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It's like I am like very much like, you know, a new creation in a sense. And I know that has like a lot of connotations when people, but it's like true though, you know? So I think when somebody were to meet me and it's like, oh, well, I was like partying and like getting hammered with this guy in high school and college, it's like it can be different because now it's like, well, if that's something we bonded over now or then now it's just different.
Yeah.
So kind of wrestling with that is, when we're talking about, you know, being vulnerable that is still something I'm growing in, because it's like, how do I you know, engage with, you know, people from, and part of that's just part of growing up, but you know,
it's a totally different story once you start having that inner dialogue of like not letting yourself feel the shame for how you used to be and embracing that and learning that like that's a part of your story and it's huge.
Yeah.
I know that's been hard for me, but I'm getting better at it. Like you see that person from that past life and it's like there's still love there. Like I still cherish those memories.
Yeah, and there's still good memories there. Absolutely.
Yeah,
that's the thing too.
It's hard for me to.
It's not like I need to forget everything that had happened on high school and college. Like,
I've tried to at points, but I don't know if that's similar for you. But
yeah,
It's an interesting thing that I don't think a lot of guys our age have this type of conversation, which I cherish.
No.
It's cool.
And that's why it's cool.
Yeah.
I value like our time when we get to chat, because I feel like even when we first like linked up after that one like time we ran into each other over the summer,
that was a special moment.
That was a lot of fun. And I think we grabbed coffee or something. Did you come here and we just like chatted it up? But it was cool because it was just so vulnerable, and it was so like, I could tell, like it was one of those things where you can just tell when some people are like stuck in, you know, they're like, oh, like this guy really hasn't changed a lot since like high school or college. Yeah. But it was like for you, I was like, oh my gosh, like this, like Hackle's totally new. God willing, you looked at me and then the same way it's like, Isaac, I don't even like, like, dude, have you grown? Like, that's cool. So much is different. But, and then it's cool to just be able to be like, hey, like, how's life been? Like, update me the last 6 years. So that was a fun interaction.
Such a special, high energized moment.
Yeah.
Thank God time passes. And just like 6 years go by and we can have that restart moment and be like that excited to see each other. It's cool.
Yeah.
More questions. Do you see yourself staying in weddings? Would you ever venture into like racing or sports as a videographer?
Yeah, so right now, I think the Lord has me in weddings, and I really enjoy it. I really enjoy it, because I know a lot of times that's just not the case with wedding videographers, is they might just be doing it for the money, they might just be doing it for like other reasons, and it's cool that I like actually really enjoy, I'm blessed that I actually really enjoy the wedding process. Obviously there's times when I'm like, dude, this sucks, I'm tired, I'm trying to go home, like it's like 10 p.m. at this wedding reception, but like for the most part, I really much enjoy what I do right now. Am I going to be in weddings forever? No, I don't think so.
Cool.
I like change too much, you know? So I'm always about starting new. I foresee myself desiring to start, you know, new stuff. And,
nice.
However that looks, I'm always like running through entrepreneurial ideas in my head that I'm like, that would be stupid if I started this right now, but I really want to.
But you're building the practice of like how to tell yourself no and like where to store information in your mind.
Yeah.
And that's a huge skill to progress.
Yeah. It is, because especially when I was starting, and I've just learned a lot about business, and that I'm still young, so there's so much I'm going to learn, you know, but even starting, like just learning how to niche down, because at first I was out of college, I was kind of doing everything. So it's like weddings, corporate events, photography, sports stuff. And then now I've kind of just like, I'm just going to get really good at weddings, and like that's going to be my jam. And I'm so glad I did that. So now if I want to expand out into something else, I can. But I'm glad I have like, because weddings is what I was best at the whole time. So I'm glad I just doubled down on that.
That's huge. At some point you do need to choose one. That's a hard thing for me.
Yeah.
But you chose weddings, and then you've built that skill.
Yeah.
That's good. There's a complete difference from sitting in your bedroom and reading business books your whole life, and then compared to actually choosing one and moving forward with it.
Yeah.
Because it never really matters what that choice is. All that matters is that you chose one. So that's huge.
Exactly. Yeah. Like the Nike spirituality of just do it. You know, that's one of my...
Did you ever read Phil Knight's book?
No.
Shoe Dog.
Does he talk about that?
Yes. All right. I'm going to write that down as a reminder.
I pulled the just do it phrase. Like that's part of my DNA. But I don't even know where I got it from.
Well, I mean, this is...
So that's going to be the book that you recommended me. Tell me about that book. Is he the CEO of...
Yeah, he created Nike.
Yeah.
And the whole story is about him going to Japan, and like the biggest focus of that book is how scared he was the whole time. And that's such a fresh perspective from a big corporative like starter like that.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk more after this. The last question I'm going to ask you is one book you recommend. So save that.
We'll talk about the books then, because that's wild. I'm really excited to hear more about that book.
That's cool you brought that up. That's bizarre.
But I take that like spirituality, quote unquote, just do it, into like every aspect of my life.
It's huge.
And once when you were talking about embracing, when you were talking about like embracing like who you are, and how I got to, you know, be willing to do, to make that step with the video and not care about what other people think. I think, you know, the just do it phrase, stupid as it sounds, like had a lot of impact on me in like so many areas, just to be like, eventually you have to just stop caring what others think and just freaking put your head down and do it with faith.
So
with business,
yeah.
with relationships. It's like nothing good ever happens without risk. You know what I'm saying? Nothing. Everything good that happens that's worthwhile is like, it takes an element of risk. So I take that with me.
Do you remember that Shia LaBeouf? Just do it.
Just do it. Yeah.
That's funny. That made me think of it.
Shia LaBeouf, bro.
There's an adjacent quote that I thought of to that whole idea you just mentioned, and I saw it on TikTok. It was a comment. There's no one to contribute this quote to because it was just a TikTok comment, but someone was expressing like, I'm so afraid, how am I going to get the courage to do something? The comment was, the time will pass anyway. And I think that's such a beautiful attitude for just do it.
Just do it.
The time will pass anyway. I almost made that my background because it was like so profound for me.
The comment was the time will pass anyway.
The time will pass anyway.
One of the most powerful things I've heard in the last year, I was talking to an old guy, and you know how like sometimes you'll talk to like, I love just engaging with old timers, or just like whoever. I love just like having, growing and learning from like everyone, like someone who's 3 years old, and be like, how can I learn from you to have more childlike joy? And then also somebody's older, right, with their wisdom. I was talking to this guy, and I was expecting him to just be like, yeah, you know how they just always are like, you're young, enjoy it while it lasts, type of vibe. Like, so now I'm old, but then he was just like, this guy was just like, yeah, like just grow content with the passage of time. He's like, that's the key to life. I was like, oh, okay, we're gonna get deep. He's like, yeah, the key to life is being content with the passage of time. Because if you're constantly like, I don't know,
fighting it, resisting it. Oh, there's an example I want to say, but I'm not. But
you know what I'm saying?
There's a lot of things.
I think there's that
you can
desire
do.
to be like, oh, we're in our glory days.
Yeah.
Right now, I feel like I feel like I've seen myself say that in high school and in college, but it's one of those things where it's like you're always like looking on and just like hanging on to something that's not actually the present moment.
Yeah.
Just enjoy the passage of time, be content with it, and yeah. Like,
don't fear death. I think that's something so many people do, is they think that's the end, but I believe death is just as part of life as being born.
Yeah.
And just in acceptance. I mean, I'm never going to be perfect at it, but I can always get better.
At dying. Perfect at dying.
That's an oxymoron, I think. That's cool.
Oxymoron.
Profound statements here by the pond.
Yeah. Yeah. While I'm still kind of half asleep, so let's go.
Yeah, thank you for letting me do this.
It's fun.
Ooh, I'm setting you up for an answer I already know. Have there been any major setbacks or hurdles you've had to get over?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, surely there have been, and most notably, like last year I had like all my I had my car broken into and like everything got stolen. I told you about that. Mm. But yeah, everything got stolen out of my car because somebody broke into it and like stole all this camera gear. That was wild, and that was certainly a setback because all of the assets in my business are now vanished.
And you had just scraped together all the money in your pocket to buy a camera, probably not that long ago.
Yeah.
And then that stuff is gone through a broken window. How did that feel?
Yeah, it was sucked, but it helped too. Like I did have some things in place so that it made it better, like business insurance and property insurance. So like I wasn't like in a hole. I wasn't in a huge negative because the insurance luckily paid it out to like provide for that. So that was huge from the financial end of things. But what was more difficult was the fact that I actually, I lost a couple's wedding, and what that was for me to have to deal with that. Not even just to like deal with the crappy like, oh, this couple's mad at me, but it was like I was genuinely like just devastated that I had lost, that the company, that this bride and groom entrusted me to film their day, and I just lost it all. So that was really hard for me, and I was kind of like doubting my own like skills and doubting my own calling to this. So I was like, I don't think I'm set out for this, like blah blah blah, all this stuff, thrown in.
I can imagine the things I would have felt in that moment. Yeah. Just staring at the car and being like, you usually put a blanket over your stuff, didn't you not, that day?
No, I think I did.
You still did. Someone just got in there.
I think I did. But the thing was, like, I usually don't even leave my gear in the car. So, but it was just weird because I'd filmed this wedding on a Friday night, got done. I was in my buddy's wedding on a Saturday. So I was in the wedding party, and then like literally 20 minutes before the ceremony started, like the wedding planner came up to me and was like, hey, is there an Isaac in the wedding party? Like, hey, bro. They're like, it feel like out of a movie because it didn't seem real type of thing.
Those moments in life are so weird.
This just happened. Like, we're just going to tell you how it is type of vibe. And I was like, I didn't believe it. My heart was kind of like, this is like my worst nightmare, you know? Because I usually never leave my SD cards in the car overnight, but I could go on and on about it. But yeah, it was hard. So that's one setback. I'm trying to think of some other setbacks. Surely there's, you know, minor setbacks as you go throughout.
That's what I was fishing for.
Life. Yeah.
That story.
For sure.
I'm so sorry that happened.
Yeah.
It's a terrible experience.
Yeah. But it, like, in the end, it grows you.
Yeah.
Because, oh my gosh, it absolutely grew me. Like,
what's something you learned from the rebuilding process?
Yeah. Yeah, it's not that I'm, like, glad that it happened, but I definitely, like, know why it happened. And I know all things happen for the good of those who put their trust in the Lord.
Yeah. And
it's, like, absolutely that grew me in so many ways. Not to, like, wrap my identity in my work, you know, because when you do that, it's a dangerous game. Because then if, like, your business does bad, and then it's, like, that makes me bad as a person. Where it was, like, separating that and remembering, like, God doesn't love me because I'm a good videographer. He loves me just because I am who I am, and I'm created in His image. And, like, yeah, I mess up, but it's, you know.
That's awesome.
It really spoke, because I was praying with it because I was, like, just so pissed. And I was like, but it was really just, I learned so much because it was God just speaking to my identity of who I was and who I am and who we all are, you know. So that's always powerful when you can, like, be reminded of, like, yeah, your identity in the Lord.
Absolutely. So, it's a constant revisitation, constant reevaluation.
Yeah.
Cyclical process.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I guess let's, what were you about to say?
Nothing.
Nothing?
I'm just thinking with all that
Just
entails.
Yeah.
It's a loaded
taking
question.
a moment.
Yeah. Listening to the birds chirp.
It's pretty.
It's a beautiful morning right now.
I'm glad it didn't rain on us.
Yeah. It was supposed to. Yeah, that was weird. But
that's why I said let's just go forward with it.
Yeah, bruh.
Want to loop back to books, and then I mean we're at a natural wrapping point, so we can just kind of.
Man.
So I mentioned Shoe Dog. That book is awesome. It's by Phil Knight. It's his story, how he was a runner in Oregon and how he developed Nike shoes. I'm wearing Nike socks right now, like one of the biggest brands. You are too, yeah.
I got the Nike shoes on.
Second thumbnail.
The dad shoes.
B-roll footage.
Best designed shoe Phil has ever done right here.
Yeah. Air Monarchs. What book do you recommend?
Yeah, bro. So I'm excited to learn more about that book from you, but the book that I probably recommend the most to other people is The 4-Hour Workweek, and I think we've even talked about that.
I bought it. I just haven't gotten all the way through it.
Oh, dude, I've like read that book like 3 times.
Really?
It's bad. Like, I recommend probably the Bible more so.
Sure. Yeah.
But like in a close second, it's the 4-Hour Workweek, because the Bible is the book of. It's just the original self-help book.
Yeah.
But like, as I like to say, then the 4-Hour Workweek is a close second, precisely because it kind of like changed my life and my perspective and a lot of the struggles I was having with business. Yeah. And it's kind of like re-changed the way I look at my business operating.
Yeah.
And just a lot of aspects of my business.
Will you explain what the focus of that book is and how it changed your process?
Yeah, absolutely. So they use an acronym called DEAL, and it's all about the 4-Hour Workweek is the name of the title. It's all about time freedom. At the end of the day, it's like you should, before you're like you have money freedom, you should really desire time freedom, or it's okay to have money freedom.
Yeah.
But then it's like, we in the American culture, and it's crazy because when I visit other countries, it's just amplified. But the American culture just, overly emphasizes being money free. But it's not. That doesn't even, like, what does that even mean? And what does it's just kind of like created a workaholic culture of like, actually, you know, the more work you do, that's when you're gonna get patted on the back by people. And like when you stay in your lane, you don't try to go too far from the, you know, the gutter walls that are there for you. It's like, then, you know, you're good, you're doing good, man. You're sticking in your, you're sticking in your 9-to-5 job. It's like, that's what you got to do. Stay in your finance job, stay in your engineering job, whatever it is. It's like, don't try to reinvent the wheel. Like, do what everyone else does.
Stay in your lane.
It's like the simple hippie answer of like, just do, like, to a certain extent, do what actually brings you joy. Kind of plain and simple, but so stupid. But yeah, no, it's, that book has changed my life because it's the whole premise of the title, 4-Hour Work Week. It's like, hey, you should be working towards having a work week that's 4 hours.
Yeah.
Which, like, not that that's my goal at all, but certainly I want to be more time free, and that's really helped train me in my own business. That, you know, just because I'm working more doesn't actually mean like anything.
It's one of the biggest illusions, and it's what I learned while I was working in corporate America. It's like, we're being rewarded for acting like we're working. Yeah. And the more I talk about how much work I do, the more I get rewarded. Yeah. Like, so the name of this channel is The Real World Exit. So I'm highlighting people that are going against the norm. And I think the book you just recommended is perfect for this channel's vision and everything that I'm embodying right now.
Absolutely.
And I don't want this to be like pooping on corporate America, because there's still so many people that are doing very good things. I just think there's an overarching negativity that filters through that system of what I just described. So with that, I mean, is there anything else you want to add about the book, about what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm thinking, so I, like, the 4-Hour Work Week, it talks about taking mini retirements. So I took a recent mini retirement to the Philippines.
That's beautiful.
Because it talks about, like, instead of, one of the biggest things that I got out of it was, you know, instead of just like hoarding up all of this time that you can then, you know, the traditional retirement is you work till you're 65, you work 50 hours a week, 48 hours a week, whatever it is. And then you get like super small, you know, time off. And then it's like, you just do that until you're 65 and you can retire. And hoard up all this time that you have to like do stuff when you're not even, your body health isn't even there necessarily, and you don't even have, I mean, a lot of times you just don't even want to do anything at that point, and all you know how to do is work, because that's all you've done your whole life. So I'm even trying to grow with like, what does proper work look like? What does proper rest look like? And actually learning how to retrain my brain to be okay with rest. So I'm trying to take a mini retirement every year, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and it works really well with the way my business operates, because I have a natural downtime with weddings, you know, from January till March. Not a lot of people get married, so it works out well. But, you know, just tapping into that childlike joy and like what brings me like happiness and like freedom in every sense of the word. Like now, instead of just pushing it off until I'm like crippled and can't even do the hikes or walks or whatever I want to do when I'm older. So going back to the corporate America thing, it's like when I was in the Philippines this year, I was there for 6 weeks. I would always talk like the American concept of work, like we have a very unique perspective on it that, you know, most other countries don't hold. Almost every other country doesn't hold the same relationship we have with work. And I don't want to poop on it precisely because it's like, you know, like I'm proud to be an American type of vibe, but it's made America what it is today. Like the fact that we do like you create your future. And I'm grateful for that element of you know, I'm grateful for that element where it's like, you can create your own future of the American dream. But if that's not what you want to do, then don't do that. I guess that's what I'm getting at. Yeah. So if you're okay with working if that's like what brings you joy, is working 9 to 5, getting married, having kids, and like that's like the fullness of life for you, which it totally is for so many people. Like my brother, he's very engineer minded, and that's like that's just like he gets so much joy from his job. It's like that's incredible. But then there's a lot of people that I know are stuck in the gauntlet that don't enjoy that. Like you and I know I was working at, not to out our companies.
Yeah, don't say the company.
I was working. I think we were working with the same company. Like I had a summer internship with.
Sure.
And it was.
I didn't know that somehow.
Yeah, I did.
Wow.
I was on the drink side of things, but yeah, it was, it literally, like, I remember being in that environment, exactly what you were just saying of like, hey, if you're acting like you're working and pretending to work, then you'll get patted on the back, you'll get rewarded. But I'm like, I hate that. I like, as an entrepreneur, everything that I do, like if I go and piss off time and I'm like half-assing work, it's like the only person that pays for that is me. So it's
yeah,
like, you know what I'm saying? But it's like you're rewarded just to like stay in the office and do nothing and hold a phone to your ear and walk around in circles. And people be like, oh, he's busy. Like, we should give him a raise, even if you're not doing anything.
I know.
And I would see these conversations always happen. And I'm like, okay, everything that I've just seen happen in this workspace could have been done in 3 hours if people weren't farting around. What are we doing?
Let's talk more about this off camera, because I have so much to share with you. But that is a really cool connection. I want to highlight a very important thing that you just embodied was mini retirements, but even on a smaller scale, your daily breaks that you allow yourself. I think that's huge. I think that's like one of the most important things that you hold so dear to yourself is you allow yourself to breathe throughout the day and be calm, even though you're working so hard. You know, I hate the phrase work hard, play hard, but you do that in a very enriching way to your health. And
absolutely.
You wear it, and it's like daily mini retirements, building up to the mini retirements.
Exactly.
And then you'll never need to retire because you're building such a strong moving forward locomotive of working and playing that it's just you. And I think that's so special.
No, absolutely. And it's not even like, man doesn't even, you know, like, it's not even that at the end, once I'm retired, I just don't want to work, you know? It's kind of like, that would just be boring. Like, that's not even, because when you retire, I think, from what I hear from old people, like a lot of times it's just like people end up just being like, oh, I've just worked my whole life, now I'm just gonna like do nothing, and they kind of sit on the couch and they just deteriorate their bodies. And I hear when people just do nothing like that, they die quicker than people who are like just like living with the spark of life that we know we're called to have. So
sweet, now I can become an alcoholic without being judged.
It's just sit on the couch and like wake up at, you know, and
go hit the course
and play, which, you know, part of that's attractive in a way, but yeah, no, it's exactly what you're saying, taking many retirements throughout the day, throughout the year, and like embracing, you know, seasons of rest and seasons of work hard, play hard. You mentioned that corny saying, but it's so true. Like properly engaging with seasons of rest where it's like, I'm okay with just not working right now. And I think Americans, we just want to constantly go to the next thing and the next thing, and we are patted on the back when we're just busy. And I just like, that's like my least favorite thing, because it's like, dude, I gotta show you what's in my car. What inspired me on the Philippines is I was like, I've had this dream that I've always pushed off just because I'm like, well, you know, I can always do other work, but I just got a fishing boat, because that's always been a hobby of mine ever since I was a kid.
Your fishing boat is in your car?
Or in my garage. Is that what I said? I'm so excited talking to you about it.
No, I'm so excited to see. I don't.
My fishing boat's in my garage.
I just had to laugh. That's awesome. I'm sorry, I'm being an ass.
But no, yeah, like in, but yeah, so like
that's cool.
Re-engaging with childlike hobbies, just stuff that brings me genuine joy, and it's like, no, it's okay to like still engage with hobbies, like that's fine. And sometimes I feel
it's necessary. You have to find fun. I just took a course called Psychology of Play.
Come on.
And I learned how to play again.
Let's go.
At 25 years old, learning how to play again.
Tell me about that.
It was cool. I'll save that for later. I'll talk more about it off camera. It was a really good time.
Come on.
Yeah, really good stuff.
Sunglasses, bro. Those are freaking sick.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna have to wrap this up soon because I'm getting sunburnt. But I talked about that in the interview yesterday too. But my skin's so fair. I'm like Austrian, so it's just wrecked and a little Irish.
Okay.
One of the last things I'll have you talk about, if you're willing, is just an elevator pitch for what you want people watching to hear. People who maybe are considering videography, people who have an eye and they don't know how to use it yet. How do you want to inspire the youth, or even people that are in their old age that want to start getting into videography?
Yeah.
And be more like you? What, just like 1 to 2 minutes of what Isaac wants to say to people.
That's a crazy good question. That's a good question. I think if I'm giving my elevator pitch of like what I've learned, it's, I don't want this to sound corny because I feel like it does, but just genuinely doing what brings you joy and understanding the Lord puts desires on our hearts for a reason, and like to squander that and like hide that is just like, not only is it not doing anyone a favor, but it's just like hurting yourself because it's not giving you that like that fullness of life that God desires for you. So I would just say like do what brings you joy and like take risk. Like these things sound corny, but they sound corny for a reason because I think people say it a lot, but it's so true of like, just be willing to step out for yourself and, take risks because that's how things get done. But then you have to actually stick with it, obviously. Like that's the biggest thing too, is I think a lot of people will, be like, oh, I'm gonna buy this camera, but then like not do anything with it. It's like, no, you actually do have to, if you want to stand out, like you can be like the 90% of people that, say they're gonna do something and you just don't do it. But if you're gonna do it, like do it and learn and be a student and just try to grow and understand you're gonna fail and fail and fail, but just growing with that, taking risk and what brings you like the fullness of life. Yeah.
That's beautiful. My only response to that is we are corny, and what a blessing to be corny and get to be the people that get laughed at, but we are living it and walking the walk. So thank you so much, man. Give me a hug. Bro. Peace. Dude. Yeah. Thank you for talking about all this, and I'm excited to continue this. Yeah, that's cool.
Let's go, dude.
We'll wrap it there.
Let's go.